Hey guys, this is Christina from Brush and Bristle Studio. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. I'm going to show you how to use the 15-ounce mug multi-mock-up today. So to get started, you're going to want to open this in Photoshop or in Photopea. Now this first part of the tutorial is going to go over how to use it in Photoshop, and the second part is going to go over how to use it in Photopea. Now, if you're going to use Photopea, still watch this because I'm not going to go over absolutely everything again in Photopea. I'm just going to go over the things that are different, which isn't really much. So make sure you pay attention to this part as well. Now, you've noticed in your files, you've also got a folder called Actions, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. I'm going to show you how to do everything manually first, and then we'll go back into the actions. So once you have this open, you're going to see the Mockup 1 front view mugs layer group, and you'll see these 3 red layer tabs. Now these are for your smart objects. So double click on the smart object thumbnail right here, and it's going to open up your new document. So go ahead and navigate to the file that you want to mock up. I don't have any 15-ounce designs right now, so I'm going to use an 11-ounce design. To get this over into that document, you want to copy and paste it. So you can hit Control A, or you can grab this marquee tool right here and then drag and drop, and you'll see all the marching ants around the entirety of the document. Now you're going to hit Control C or go to Edit and Copy, and then you can close out of this, and then you can hit Control V or Edit Paste. Now, as you can see, my design does not fit in this. It's too small. So I need to resize this. To do this, you're going to hit Control T, or you're going to go Edit, Free Transform. And you'll see these little anchor points on all around it. Now you're going to drag and drop it. Drag and drop. But you see we've got the bounds are going over the canvas, and we don't really want that. So you want to bring this over, but if you bring it over, you see the whole thing does it together. That's because we've got the dimensions linked. You see this little highlighted link right there? That means that they're linked together. But if you unhighlight that by clicking on it, you see you can do it like this. Or if it's linked, you can hold down Shift, and then you can drag and drop. And that's what I prefer doing. I typically forget that the link is off and on, so I just leave it on, and then you shift to help move. So once it's sized how you like, you can hit the check mark, or you can press enter, and then you're going to want to hit Control S or go to File, Save. And this is going to update your smart objects. So let's go back to our main document. And as you see, it's updated on all 3 mugs at once. It's also on all 3 of your mock-ups. So that's pretty quick and easy. Now there are some changes that you can do to make this fit your design more, fit your style more. Some designs, these effects might not show up as well on, so it's good to know how to make some of these changes. So if you look at the glossy overcoat or the highlights or the shading, you've got blending options that are right here. And you don't really want to mess with the blending options. I'd leave those set, because sometimes if you mess with that, it can really mess with the coloring of the design and everything. So I'd stick with the blending options that I have set. But you can mess with the opacity and the fill. So for the opacity on the shading, it's set at 75%. But let's say you don't want as much shadow, so you could take it down, or you could take it up and make it more intense. I like it at 75. Same goes the highlights and the glossy overcoat. And you also have these bottom shadows right here. That's the same thing. You can mess with the opacity and the fill on that. You can even move the bottom shadows if you aren't happy with where they're placed. And if you want to, you can also look at this layer group right here called Extra Highlight Shadow. If you toggle this visibility on, you see it'll pop just a little bit more. I've added a brightness contrast filter and a vibrance filter to it. And if you want to edit these, all you have to do is double click this icon and you'll see the brightness contrast panel will open up. You can drag and drop it wherever you want. As you can see, these filters affect the entire document. So it'll mess with the mockup 1, mockup 2, mockup 3. So make sure you really pay attention if you make changes to these, or you could really make your design look funky. But once you've got that, let's see, you've also got your backgrounds. In the first mock-up, I've got 8 different backgrounds set in here. I'll go through these really fast so you can see what you've got. I just tried to give you guys a nice little starting selection so they can go with various designs that you've got. And on this white shimmer, I've even got a color changing feature set up. So it's orange tabbed. Everything that's set to color feature, to the color changing feature, is set with an orange layer tab. So to change this, you'll double click on this color palette and you want to make sure that the colorize button is checked. If it's not, well, let's make it a little bit darker so you can see. When it's not checked, it's not going to show up. Now you can change the color by dragging this top one. You can make it more saturated, less saturated, lighter, darker, whatever you need to really go with your design. But we're going to toggle that off for right now. I also have these color handles. So just like we did with the background, you find this orange tabbed layer. It's in your handles folder. Toggle that the visibility on. Double click your color palette, and then you can drag wherever you need the colors to get the color that you need. Now we're going to go down to our second mock-up, and everything's the same. You've still got the colored handles. You can make all the changes to the shadows, the highlights, all that stuff. The backgrounds are different. You've got 4 different backgrounds to work with. And you've got the color changing feature on here. And I'll turn this up like that for a second so you can see. So if you want to play with those, to color those a little bit more for your designs, you can do that as well. One thing you can do with this, I'll turn that back on for a second. If you go over and you click on the layer itself, if you go up to the blending options, you could always play with it to make it a little bit more fun. I'd recommend like color. Color would probably be the only other blending option I'd really go for. Maybe like multiply. But play with it. You never know what you might find. You might really like how something looks with a different blending option. Let's see. The third one is really the same as the second. You've got the same backgrounds. You've still got that color feature on there. Nothing really special about this layer, this mock-up. Now, I would make sure that you put in a watermark or something, or your logo, just to help protect your design, make sure no one grabs it. I know a lot of people like seeing the full image, but you do have to worry about theft. Let's see. I think that's all for this, and I'll show you how to do the action really fast. I'm going to clear out this design. So we're working with the fresh clean slate. Now, if you go to your actions folder and double click the action, it's going to automatically install the action into Photoshop for you. You look for this little play button on your panel bar. If it's not there, you can go to Window and hit Actions. It should load at the very bottom of your Actions panel. You've got two action groups. You've got Load and Save Design. Load, you want to do separately, so that way it gives you time in between saving to make those adjustments that we were going over before, like changing the background, changing the intensity of the shadows and the highlights, the handle colors, that kind of stuff. You'll see in just a second what I mean, but I felt like it was good having that pause in between the two sections so you could always make those changes. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on Load Design, and then you're going to hit play. This is going to pop up. Just ignore it. Just hit OK. And as you see, it just keeps on going. So now you're going to navigate to the file that you need. And as you see, it went ahead, copied, pasted it in here, and it's already set it to free transform. So go ahead and resize how you need. Hit the check mark. And as you see, it's already saving and it's closing all on its own. And it's already updated to all three mockups. So now's the time that you're going to want to make those changes. You know, add the extra highlight shadow, change the background, change the handles, all that stuff. And then once that's done, you're going to go to Save Design, and let's go put this somewhere. Mockup 1 is how it's saved. There you go. Mockup 2, there you go. Mockup 3, there you go. And Bob's your uncle. You've got all three mockups done, lickety split. So between the smart objects being linked and the action file, it'll take you no time at all to get your mockups done. So that's really all I have to show you for how to use this in Photoshop. If you are interested in learning how to use it in Photopea, stick around and I'll show you how to use it in Photopea in just a second. If you've got any questions on how to use it in Photoshop, please feel free to message me on Etsy or comment below. I'm always happy to help. But talk to y'all soon. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go over how to use the mockup in Photopea now. So Photopea is a 100% free web-based software that you can use. Kind of like how Canva, you use that in a web browser. You can use it on your PC, on any smart device, from a phone to an iPad. It has a lot more tools to it than other programs. Like a lot of iPad users love Affinity. But my mockups will not work in Affinity because they don't have all the tools that are used in them. So you need something more powerful that's more comparable to Photoshop. And unfortunately, my mockups also do not work in Photoshop Express on the iPad because they don't have all the tools in there. Kind of ironic. But you can use them on your iPad or on your phone in Photopea. And like I said, it's free. You don't need an account to use it. You just go to photopea.com and you've got access to it. It also links to your Dropbox, your OneDrive, your Google Drive, all that stuff. So it's pretty nice. Now, once you're here and you're ready, you can go to Open from Computer. And we're going to go open up the file. Now, like I said before, this is very similar to Photoshop. Everything else I went over in the first part of the tutorial is exactly the same. You can still make all the changes to the overcoat, the highlights, the shading, do the double click the color palette to change the color of the handles, the backgrounds, all that stuff. The only thing that is different is really messing with the smart objects. So if you double click the smart object, it's going to open it up. But instead of doing like file open, you're going to do file open in place. And then go to the design that you need. But as you saw, it automatically copied, pasted, and set to free transform. So that kind of speeds up the process a little bit. So now just go ahead and resize it. So as you can see, you can't really see the anchors that are over here, and you don't really see a bar over here. But if you hold Control and then scroll like up, it'll go to the left. And then do that little shortcut I was telling you before by holding down Shift and drag and then let go. And then you do the same thing over here. So, and to get over this way, if you hold Control and use the roller on the mouse to go, I guess, towards you, you can go to the right. And then we're going to hold Shift and drag that over there. Now you're going to hit this check mark, and you can hit Control S, or you go to File, and we're going to do Save Smart Object. Smart Object updated. Now if you go back and look at the main document, you'll see that it's updated for all three. So that's really the only difference that Photopea has. You cannot use the action in Photopea, so that is one downside to this. I haven't figured out why I can't use that yet. I think I'm going to have to make the action within Photopea to be able to do it. But that'll probably be a little bit out just because of everything I've got going on right now. But make sure that you are checking back at your link every now and then where you're getting your files. Because I do update the files every now and then, and you might find a link for a new action file for Photopea in there, or this main file will be updated. I do date the files, so you'll know if it's an updated file or not. But yeah, that's Photopea. That's the tutorial on the mockup. I hope that this tutorial was very helpful for you in being able to use this. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the mockup. But if you have any questions or need help with anything, have any suggestions, whatever, please feel free to comment below, contact me in my Etsy shop, whatever. I'm always happy to help. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Talk to y'all later.